Oh my goodness. My bike is out of commission. What am I going to do? Ah! I know I have a bunch of hardtails to choose from, but what am I going to do without a full suspension bike that I do all my bigger sends on? I have an idea, and you might like it. How's that for an intro? Welcome to Shad Life. All right, so what is my idea? Well, my idea is this is a perfect opportunity for me to do another budget bike review. And the reason why I'm putting up the quotes is my idea of a budget bike when it comes to full suspension bikes is really any full suspension bike that's under $3,000. So, yes, that's a kind of a silly amount of money when we're talking about budget, but that it is what it is. The industry has completely changed, and if you want anything that's somewhat decent, you really can't get like a full suspension bike under $1,000 or even under $1,500. That's worth any kind of like abuse that somebody like me is going to put into it. So I will show you here what bike I'm talking about. Let's check it out. Okay, this is it. The Polygon. Do I have to pronounce that? Siskiu T8 dual suspension mountain bike. Um, yeah, this is a killer price. So currently it's $400 off. So the normal price is $23.99, and that's not them just giving you a sale price that they always give you. They actually have a $400 discount on this bike, which is awesome because it really does put it into that lower price category where when it comes to full suspension, I consider $19.99 a budget price. I know that seems high to a lot of people when it comes to bicycles, but trust me, you don't want to go any cheaper than this on a full suspension bike. Someday I'll explain that, but for now, let's take a look at this bike. Scrolling down, you can look at some of their highlights here. It does have Fox suspension. That is kind of unheard of in this price range. It's kind of mind blowing. So you get a Fox rear shock, a Fox 34 rhythm fork. Again, this is kind of middle of the road Fox stuff. But Fox doesn't make low end stuff. They start with really good and it just gets better from there. So you can't really lose with Fox suspension. Really, is the difference is you have fewer adjustment options. But I have found that sometimes having fewer adjustment options makes it so easy to set up your suspension and just go ride your bike, right? Transx dropper post, Shimano SLX drivetrain, another unheard of thing. Tektro brakes. There's a little bit of a conflict here down lower. I'll talk about it. But I'm hoping this bike actually comes with the Tektro brakes because I haven't ever tested them before, and it would be nice to know how good they are. And in their detailed spec list, it says it comes with Shimano brakes, so it'll be interesting. The other thing that's a conflict in their detailed spec list is I see some Schwalbe Hans Domp tires on here, which I also hope the bike comes with. In the specs, it showed some V rubber ones or whatever. Those are the kind of, I don't know, I never really have liked the V tires. So we come into here, they talk about, they're just, bragging about the bike, so on and so forth, dude riding it. The website's kind of cool. We scroll down here. Here's something that I want to talk about here is they do, and this is good that they do this. They're showing a comparison from their T7 to their T8. And yes, is the T7 more of a budget bike? It is. But this has RockShox Recon fork and a RockShox Deluxe rear suspension. And when I see the Fox stuff here, it is so worth the money to do the upgrade, because I already know, I've ridden this RockShox stuff. It's not all that awesome. Does it work? Yes. Does it do the job? Yes. But it just does not have the plushness and the nice feel that the Fox suspension has. So I would upgrade just for that reason. And then you're going drivetrain Shimano Dior to SLX. Again, I mean, that's a decent upgrade, but it's not huge. All right. Looks like the brakes are similar. Well, actually, like that's a lower, 4 front, probably 2 rear. This has 4 piston all the way around, so on and so forth. But really, the biggest thing here for me is the front and rear shock. And those are things like, if you choose to buy this bike over here, the T7, and upgrade to Fox or better suspension later, that's a really expensive upgrade. Like, forks are not cheap. Like, just even like kind of your entry level base bare bones Fox fork is still $600, $700, $800, right? So to be able to get the bike with that suspension to start with is just a better way to go. That's my take on that. All right, now let's get into the component specs here. Here's where, it's got an aluminum frame, so you're not going to get carbon at this price. If you do, I would be scared to ride the bike. It's 148 by 12 millimeter boost through axle. That's standard. 73 millimeter. I love threaded 73 millimeter bottom brackets. That's been a standard for a long time. I do not like press fit, any of this new stuff. It's got the tabs, so if you want to run a chain guide, you can. Fork we've already talked about. Rear shock we've already talked about. Really good stuff there. Shimano SLX derailleur and shifter. It's got a Sunrace cassette, so this is where they can start to save a little bit of money, keep the price point down, but the Sun cassettes are good. I just put one on my mullet build, and I like the Sun cassettes. KMC chain, crankset's 170 millimeter. Now this is going to be not an SLX crankset. I believe this is their Dior level crankset, so the crankset's going to be slightly downgraded to save money, but it's going to be strong. It'll hold up. It just will weigh a little bit more. Brakes, here's where I said there's a conflict. They're saying Shimano brakes here, but up top it says Tektro brakes, so I don't know what the bike's going to come with. And then here's the V tire that they said, but yet the photo showed Swarovski Hans Damp. I hope it comes with the Hans Damp tires. But if it comes with these tires, we can review them and talk about them. Rims, I think those are this must be their in-house brand entity. I see entity stem, entity handlebar, pretty much your standard deal. They're saving money here on the hubs, a little bit lower end. I don't know if these are going to be sealed bearing or not. I'll know once I get the bike, things like that. So we'll talk about that stuff when I do the initial review of the bike. Tubeless tape is installed. I love that, because the first thing I will do is yank those tubes out, put a valve stem in there and goop in there, and rock tubeless. It's always the way I go. 35 millimeter inner width. That's wide for rim with a 2.6 tire, so that might be good and nice and stable. I generally run 30 millimeter width tires with my rims with my 2.6 tires, but yeah, 35 is cool. Geometry, here's another thing I want to talk about. Their sizing is off to me, but I look at that reach number and I immediately am like, I am a size small all day long. They want me to go to a size medium according to their sizing recommendations. This is where, if you're going to order bikes online, you're not able to test ride them or anything, you need to know the numbers that work for you. So reach is going to be what I call your standing measurement. So when you're standing and riding the bike, which hopefully you do, and you're going off jumps and drops and riding technical terrain and stuff, this is the number you want to go by, is that center and bottom bracket to the center of the head tube at the top here. This B number. 440 is a longer reach than what my Salsa Rustler is, and my Salsa Rustler fits me perfectly. I'm only 5'7". 460 is a long reach. I did a video a while ago on this rider area distance measurement. I'll put that video down. Actually, I'll just pop it up in the corner of the screen right here. And then you can go check that out. But that's a super important measurement. I want to be rad, equal or less, rad minus they call it, because then I have control over the bike. I talk a little bit about being the pilot on a bike or being the passenger. If I am riding rad plus, which would definitely be the case if I had a 460 millimeter reach, it might even be the case with a 440 reach. But if my bars are too far out there, I don't have the control over the bike. I can't pull up the front wheel as easy and things like that. So I'm going to stick with the small. It's the size I always get. The small, I'll have 27.5 wheels, which I love. I don't have the option to go 29. I like that they actually do smaller wheels on the smaller size bikes and then put bigger wheels on the bigger bikes. That makes more sense to me than just putting 29s on all bikes or 27.5s on all bikes. Coming into here, we've got a 65-degree head angle, so it's going to be pretty slack. Seat tube angle, that's the effective seat tube angle. There we go. 76.5, so that's pretty steep. So this is one of those modern geometry bikes. It's got a long reach, slack head angle, steep seat angle. And this is a trail bike. It's not an enduro bike, but it's definitely pushing the boundaries of that enduro category there. And another nice thing about it is the chainstay length. I've seen it. Where is it? 425. That's a good chainstay length. That's pretty short. So that's going to give the bike some agility. Works great with 27.5 wheels too. You notice it goes up to 430 when you go to 29 in wheels. Makes sense. I love it. I love it that they're tweaking things based on the size of the rider and the size of the wheel. Because obviously, as you get taller and your center of gravity goes higher, you're going to have more leverage and you don't need the super short chainstays. And if you're a tall rider riding super short chainstays, now the bike's going to be too twitchy and stuff. So I like it that they're doing this. I hope more bike companies start doing this. Cool. All right. So enough on that. I'm going to go ahead and order this bike. I don't want this purple one. I want the kind of the gray one. The reason why is I already have the Salsa Rustler with that kind of hot pink and purple theme, and I don't need more purple. So what's nice about this charcoal color is it gives me more flexibility on what color parts I put on this or anything if I do upgrade it and things like that, so on and so forth. So there you have it. I'm going to go ahead and click that add to cart button and purchase this bike. Of course, I'm not going to do that here on YouTube for security reasons, but I'm going to go ahead and purchase this bad boy. So there you have it. I did make the bike purchase. It was successful. So what I'm going to ask is if you really like this kind of content, like this idea of me getting bikes and reviewing them and so on and so forth, I appreciate your support for my channel by subscribing. That would be awesome. And then, hitting the like button. Hitting the like button lets me know you like this kind of content, so on and so forth. I'm excited about this bike, and I'm excited to talk about it. These Polygon bikes, I see a lot of people on Facebook and elsewhere talking about them, reviewing them, and so on and so forth. So it'll be nice to get one and actually have my own personal perspective on it. I do things a bit differently. I feel like a lot of channels, they're trying to keep their time within this 10-15 minute thing, and so they gloss over a lot of details. I get into the nitty-gritty details on this stuff. I'm going to do a build of the bike, my initial thoughts, and then I'm going to go and do a ride on it, and then probably another ride, like one at Theater Worth, where I always do test my bikes out because there's such a variety of things at that trail, up in Cuyuna, so on and so forth. And then we'll see if this ends up being a bike I actually like. I might keep it around, do some tweaks, upgrades to it, talk about it some more, so on and so forth, like I do my other stuff. We will see. So I do really appreciate your support. Peace.